Yeah.
Are we live?
Everybody, we are live.
So,
we are live. So let's tone it down, gentlemen. So we've had a very fun pre-chat this morning. It's been civil. It's been great. We've discussed about every topic you could possibly come up with, and it is time for us to go live. Now, it says live on the StreamYard side. I have no idea if we're live on the YouTube side. Should be any second now. It says waiting for Travis P11. If you guys can hear me out there, why don't you go ahead and let me know. And today we are going to talk about the Army's next generation squad weapon on America's favorite quality of life improvement podcast. It is the Caliber Corner. It is season 5. It's episode number 268, and we're all still here. And so what is the next generation squad weapon selection that the Army has chosen? What is the round that they're going to use? Is it really necessary? Judging by the poll out there, it may not be a very popular choice amongst us taxpayers, but it does offer some advantages over the current platforms. Maybe. But before we have the discussion, we're going to let our fantastic panel introduce themselves, give a little shout out on the YouTube side, and I've got some basic house cleaning I got to go through, and then we're going to fire it up. So on my right, we've got Squibload. Squib, how you doing? Are you good? You hanging in there?
Yep, it's my typical Saturday morning where I'm multitasking and I'm not necessarily paying attention to the live chat. I should be, but yeah, I'm working on videos and editing and bouncing all over the place. I got 300 tabs open, and yeah, typical Saturday. Thanks for the invite.
only 2 of them are operational.
Yeah.
So check out the Squibload channel. Lots of great stuff. It truly is the box of chocolates of the internet, because you never know what you're going to get once you show up at that channel. I mean, there could be anything from a tool review to socks being reviewed to something firearm related to installation of a dishwasher. It really is up there. It is the Swiss Army knife of YouTube channels. So you guys got to head over to the Squibload channel. Show some love. What's that?
One thing you are guaranteed is a smooth tone of voice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, you know what's
All right.
funny is I finally started. I put out some videos where I'm shooting guns. There's nothing, great about it, but my subscriber count went way up. It's a typical. So why don't you do range videos? Everybody does range videos. Go to Travis's channel if you want to watch range videos.
I just turn my camera on at the range. I have a conversation with the camera like I do all the time anyway. So it's, to me, it's just, it just feels normal. But it does put a lot of pressure on you when you're filming at the range sometimes to want to perform, to want to shoot well, because otherwise you hear about it. Every day I get a comment from somebody, your groups suck. I'm like, you go out in the middle of a blizzard in February and go take a Sky CPX2 and you group better than 2 inches and you show me you can do that, right?
Yeah, they stopped commenting at that point. No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not under
respond
pressure.
back. They'll never respond back. No,
I'm not under pressure, but honestly, going to the range and shooting is a lot more fun when I go to the range and shoot, not when I'm worried about, am I in frame? All right, ready, action, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I do a couple of videos that people have been whining about. They're not even anything great. And yeah, I get more subs, whatever.
There you go, man. It's a tough road, brother. It's a tough road. Go ahead, Foos.
So what I just learned is you cannot perform on camera. Gotcha.
Hey, man, speak for yourself. So, Foos, on that note, why don't you tell us about you? What you got going on, brother?
What I got going on?
Yeah.
I'm starting the moving process. So, again.
It's real. It's on.
Oh, it sucks.
Foos is about to enter the world of cohabitation. Yeah, you won't think that, though, when you get to split the electricity bill and split the water bill and you get to split the ammo bill,
So this is how it goes. I was like, okay, I'll just start paying for 2/3 your mortgage. And she's like, no, I got the mortgage. Just, pay for electric and food and, help with that. I'm like, really? Nice. Like, yeah, just put that towards the house. I'm like, all right, sweet.
Put that in writing. Let's get a contract.
I know.
In the words of Kanye West, we want prenup. We want prenup. Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, yeah, we need prenup.
We need
prenup. Hey, we need a relationship contract.
There you go. There you go.
But no,
let me provide your soundtrack. She take your money and I'm oh, she's a gold digger. She just loves you for your ammo. She loves you for your bottomless supply of bullets. That's the only reason why she loves you. That's right.
So today I'm going to get some more ammo at her place, and then all my extra brass. Going to hit the storage unit. Hopefully get my spare bed to the storage unit today.
You're a busy boy, man. I'm telling you what. Hey, at least you got some weather for it. It's going to be a good time. So there you go.
That's why I'm trying to get it as much done this weekend, because it's going to be almost 60. So A lot better than
the
the
cracking in the
teens
50s
last year.
today. I'm going to open the windows. I'm going to put some shorts on and run around, t-shirt. It's going to be 50 out. I'm going to have to run my air conditioner in my car. God, this is nuts.
It's almost sunbathing weather.
2 days ago it was 3 degrees when I was walking the dog. So anyway, we got to keep moving. We're never going to get through the show if we don't do this. But anyway, Foos, thank you. Welcome. Good to have you here. You've been here since the beginning, and I'm glad you stuck around. So
I'm still waiting for paycheck of season 1, episode 4.
I've never actually monetized an episode of Caliper Corner. I tried, but every episode would get limited or no ads on it, brought in no revenue. So sorry, man. This is pro bono work you're doing. It's all free will offering. So write this off on your taxes. Write your time off on your taxes. You bill what, $150 an hour for what you do? Somewhere around there.
No.
What about $250?
$400 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have to offset my other taxes.
Okay. Well, off to your left is your Missouri, who lives off to the left. We've got Hillbilly up over there. American Hillbilly, how's it going, man? You good?
Great. How you doing today?
And it's going to be an intense discussion, and people get really passionate when we talk about something that's completely out of our hands, which is whether or not we should upgrade our military weapons. But it's going to be a good talk. I can't wait till High Point releases a rifle for 277 Fury. That's going to be the day that I die right there. That's going to be the greatest moment in history when they come out with a $300 277 Fury rifle. So
it's going to be pure blowback. That weight is going to be about 1,800 pounds.
You're going to have like a bowling ball charging handle on it. You're going to put a skillet on the top of it or something.
Charging handle will be the fine, same size. It's just the moving of the mass.
I think Yeet Fury 277 just sounds freaking amazing for a rifle. The Yeet Fury 277.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Bring the next generation squad home for $300 or less. Huh?
Yeah.
And save our government a lot of money.
That's right. Definitely. That's right. All right. So American Hillbilly, if somebody heads over to your channel, what can they expect? What are they going to find?
Oh man, they'll find a lot of exploded hard seltzer laying around.
Lots of vegetables, lots of firearm tests. Pretty much if it's a piece of produce, you pretty much launched a projectile at it. I've come to the conclusion. So yeah.
Yeah, we teach you how to make avocado toast and all kinds of stuff.
The man invented guacamole. If you know what we're talking about, check out the guacamole video. And avocado toast. And then in your spare time, you've got a B channel you're going to launch about goat yoga. Is that right? You're going to really get into some new age stuff like some chai teas and goat yoga and I don't know, some keto stuff.
Wait, am I hearing this right? Goat yoga?
It's called American Hillbilly Goes to the Mall or something like that, I think is what it is. I don't know.
Well, I figured I would just kind of go all out, and I was going to do the goat yoga, but, only the best for my, subs and stuff. So we're going to switch it up to chicken yoga since, chickens are pretty popular right now.
Well, once you get that Spanx for Men contract, your channel's going to be rocking, dude. I'm telling you right now. So that's it.
Jackie just told me goat yoga. Was it? Jackie just told me goat yoga is actually a thing.
It is. No, it's legit. I mean, you pay to let goats. I mean, Nebraska, you can go lay out in the field and they'll do it for free. You don't even have to. It's like put some food on your back and they'll just walk right over you. So you don't even have to go to the studios.
Oh, the person's doing yoga with goats. I thought the goat was doing yoga.
Well, it kind of is. I think it's kind of a give and take. I think it's therapy for the goats, but it's also yoga for the users. But anyway, that'll be
if someone is like in a downward dog and another goat comes up and rams a headbutt, I would watch that all damn day.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably happened. I'm sure it's happened more than once.
Oh, yeah.
And on that goat yoga note, let's move on over to Single Shot, the original goat yoga master. Single Shot, how's your morning going, sir? How you doing?
Extremely cold.
Oh, is it chilly out there on the East Coast today? Are you a little bit?
Someone's in the Northeast.
Where you at?
4 below zero with a wind chill factor of about 45 below zero.
Dude, why do you do this to yourself? Go to Florida. Go to the Gulf Coast. Go to Mexico. Come on, man. You got to do something. Why do you keep putting up with? I don't even deal with that. I'm in Nebraska, and our winters are long enough.
Aren't you retired? If you're retired, can't you get loads that go like?
You should be living down in the villages or starring in some sandals commercials or something in the Caribbean. That's what you should be. You're just sitting there walking down the beach. You got your beard. You got your shades on.
I'm telling you, this is out of the reign of normal.
Oh, you're
for
pretty
up
dang
here,
close
I'm
to Canada.
telling
That's
you.
to be expected. You got some of that Tommy gun weather going on over there is what you got. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So single shot.
But you guys think most of the inhabitable Canada is lower than the top of the 48 states.
This is true. So yeah. All right. So single shot. If people head over to your channel, what can they expect to find? Because you're over there on Rumble, you're over there on a lot of different places. What do you feature on your channel? What do you got?
Daywolf on Rumble and Single Shot, of course, on YouTube. They'll find basically a potpourri of a little bit of everything because.
Ooh, potpourri. Did you just say potpourri? That's a good word. I like that. That's like mishmash. That's definitely something that's underused. I'm gonna start using potpourri more often. I like cornucopia personally, but potpourri's got more of kind of a, it smells better. Yeah.
That's right.
That is awesome.
It's more
you have a veritable salad bar buffet of information about firearms and ammunition. So all you can eat, all you can consume, right? Yeah,
that's
man.
right.
That is awesome.
It's been crazy up here to the house here. This last few times that I've been home, I've just had no time to do anything except trying to take care of the house and the driveway, which is all ice and all kinds of crap. Again,
you can probably sell your house at house prices these days. You can probably sell it for $1 million and go move into a nice condo in Miami for half that. Go down to South Beach. That's what I do if I were you. So
you couldn't pay me enough to do something crazy like that.
I don't know. Once you hit the white sandy beaches of Destin, Florida, you're probably not going to turn around. So
I wouldn't go all the way to South Beach. I'd stop at the Carolinas.
There you go.
I
Night Strike probably needs a roommate. You can move in with Night Strike. You might need a roommate.
Or that little part of Georgia that hits the coast.
Yeah,
I lived in southeast Georgia for 15 years. So, tell me about it.
Tacos and French fries. Tacos and French fries. I've never actually been to South Beach. I don't know what's there. I've been to Miami and Orlando, and then I've driven all the way down to Key West. And that's pretty much it. That's my Florida experience. I haven't gone anywhere else, but I know there's some nice places. So, hey, real quick, let's give a shout out on the YouTube side, and then I've got to get through some house cleaning stuff, and then we're just going to start the discussion and get it going. I will be doing a little bit of reading to you. I've got information out of American Rifleman magazine. I've highlighted the most important stuff about what we're going to talk about. So we'll focus on 3 parts: the ammo, the 2 guns, and then the optic, like where the Army's going, what's going to happen to the M4, and so on. Is 5.56 going to disappear? Well, we've got some news for you. We'll let you know exactly what's going to take place.
M4 is going to go to surplus Ukraine.
Yeah, there you go. They'll retrofit it for 5.56 or for 5.45 or something.
5.45 barrel on it.
That's the new thing. That's the new thing now is the 5.45 AR. Is that even a thing yet? I have no idea.
Oh, the 5.45 ARs were a thing whenever 7 and 6 was cheaper than dog shit.
Oh yeah.
Like whenever I bought my first AK, I almost bought a 5.45 barrel because at that time ammo was like 1,000 rounds for like $60 or $70.
Yeah, it was super cheap. You get it delivered for like maybe $100 after taxes. It was super cheap.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, or just to let you guys know, technically the XM5 rifle, like as of 2 weeks ago, they're going to be renaming it the XM7. 6 said that somebody else has a trademark on XM5, so it's going to be known as the XM5 for this discussion. That's what's in my publication here. Shout out to DJ Play Nice, Tacos and French Fries, Kevin Jung, Mike Kingpin. Who else is out there? We've got Tactical Fud is rocking it today. Let's see. Oh, my mom's out there. Good morning, son. Have a good day. I'm wearing the shirt my mom got me for Valentine's Day. It says, I don't run, I reload. Not only can I not run, but reloading is much easier for a guy like me. So, Mom, thanks for the shirt. I do appreciate it. Love you. Who else is out there? Hillbilly Up's out there. Tommy Gun's watching. X-Adam 1's in the house. Arm Rebellion 47's with us this morning. A lot of people going on out there. We got some Mountain View going on there. Watch 75. Prairie is out there. Bjorn's out there. Squib Lift, Squib Load. The Squib Empire's out there. Squib Empire Strikes Back is out there. Ozzy Orsborn's watching today. And I think that's it. Real quick, house cleaning stuff. We will be drawing for the logo hopefully this week for Thunder on the Prairie 2023. We only had 4 submissions for it. And I'm probably going to give something to all 4 of the drawings. We're probably going to use all 4 of the designs, but there's going to be one that'll be kind of the primary logo for a website I'm hoping to make up, or maybe I'll talk to Night Strike and have him make up a simple website that we can just post information about Thunder on the Prairie to, or you can host your videos to it if you want to. And so that's coming up. So what is Thunder on the Prairie? That's a YouTuber gun day, I guess you could say, range day or range days that we're going to be hosting the first week in June. You're invited to sign up if you want to come to it. It's $25 a day. It's very limited, but there is some lodging options on site. That's going to take place also. It's in Firth, Nebraska, Nebraska Shooters. And I'm not sure if the registrations are up yet for it or not. Should be up soon. We do have a lot of sponsors that are already on board, which is really cool. Cleanse Oil is going to be donating stuff for participants in the event and some supplies. So people, if they want to clean their guns and test out Cleanse Oil, they can do it. So they are the official cooking supply and firearms care product of Thunder on the Prairie 2023.
Is Mead coming back?
Mead, okay, we're going to be reaching out to them. It sounds like they're going to be with us. I don't think it's going to be a problem this time. We're going to talk to them and see if we can get that frangible 9 again to play around with. I've also got a few rounds of the 308 left. Who's, if you want to test it out, I think I have 5 rounds left. So maybe
the 308. I didn't know you had 308 last year.
Yeah, dude, they make basically match grade hunting ammunition. Yeah, I did a review on it. It shot really good. Once I got my gun dialed in, it shot really good. So yeah, check out their website. Yeah.
If I can come, and if I have my suppressor, I'll bring several hundred rounds of 308.
Oh heck yeah, dude! Oh yeah, I'll save these for you. I'm not gonna finish them. So
yeah, I mean, I have. I don't know. I'll have to see how many I have made up because I'm not going to make any more up. But.
Yeah. What else is up here? And then I've also reached out to Bear Creek Arsenal about getting a couple uppers, and then also I know that Defense Dad's working with Versicarry. He's going to talk to Monster, and we're going to try to get a few more sponsors on board this year too. Blackout Coffee Company, I reached out to them, so we'll be making some announcements about sponsors and letting you know about who's sponsoring us. And Cleanse Oil is something I've been using for a long time. I'm not on their payrolls or anything, but they did send me a box of products to test out about a year ago, almost 2 years ago. Love it. I've been pretty much sold on it ever since. So,
and if I could find a suitable powder, I recently bought a 225 grain 308 projectile, and I'm searching for some powder that I could do subsonic 308.
Oh, nice.
And I think that'd be cool to make up 50, 100 rounds of that and have some fun with that through a suppressor. So, maybe.
Cool. So real quick here, Razor JB. So when we're talking about the next generation squad weapon, this is essentially the trials that the military puts several manufacturers with the firearms and ammo through, and they had a specific caliber that they were going for. And then whichever gun comes out on top, whatever they decide on is what's going to be the gun that's going to eventually make its way. It's going to trickle down into, your infantrymen and stuff like that. But there's 2 different versions of the SIG. You could say XM5 Spear and the Spear T. There's a couple different platforms that are offered. So eventually move out the M4s that we're used to right now, and then moving into the MCX LTs, if that happens, because they're going to be chambering that in 5.56. And then there's the MCX Spear, which is the full size AR-10's size, I guess you could say, platform that's out there. It does run the AR-10 mags and stuff. So we'll get started on the ammo here in just a second. Razor JB says, I am familiar with as well as I am part of the testing, and if so, it'll be 5+ years at a minimum and distributed to SOF only. Yeah, they're going to want to make sure that they test in the field to make sure it's going to do what they need it to do before they invest in it. There's already so much money that's been put up right now, but there's a total amount that's being allocated for it, and beyond that, for parts, service, rifles, optics, ammo, the whole shebang. So it is going to be a pretty big deal once it switches over. And so we'll eventually talk about, once we get past the ammo, we'll talk about pros and cons of going to potentially a larger, bulkier system or, more powerful round. Is it necessary? Yes or no? So that's basically what's going to happen. So real quick, information here on Sig Fury, or the 6.5 cc's they're calling it. So understand that the way that I understand it, the Sig Fury 277 is what we're going to call the civilian round. It is going to come with different grain weights, different options for projectiles. And then the 6.5 cc is going to be the official military designation. And I'm sure they're going to run different grain weights, but we'll talk about case pressures and stuff here in just a second, because it's pretty wicked. So it says the U.S. Army's latest multi-billion-dollar high-tech small arms program is moving forward, and it represents nothing less than an entirely new direction in the U.S. military small arms development. In April of last year, the Army announced that it had selected the winners of the Next Generation Squad Weapon competition, an infantry rifle and a light machine gun, along with a new cartridge and an optical system that the pair would share. So the idea, what we wanted was a weapon and ammunition that could basically outclass what our soldiers were running into in the battlefield. And there are still enemies out there that are running 7.62 by 54R, 7.62 by 39. We wanted something that could deliver even more punch than 6.5 Creedmoor, but still be portable enough to basically run about the same size and weight as, say, 308, right? And then offer a completely new weapon system. So 6 Hour won the contract. It was awarded a 10-year indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract capped at $4.7 billion. The initial phase is $20.4 million contract to provide 25 XM5s, which I'll show off here in a little bit, and 15 XM250s, which is the belt-fed machine gun. I think that's going to maybe replace the SAW. I could be wrong. So I'm not military, but I'm guessing on some of this stuff. Eventually, the Army expects to procure 107,000 XM5, now called XM7 rifles, and 13,000 XM250 automatic rifles. Okay, now let's talk about the cartridge. So what you see right there are the ballistics for the 277 SIG Fury. What is the advantage over 6.5 Creedmoor? What does it offer? What's the big deal about it? And then the difference between that and basically the 6.8 millimeter common cartridge that's going to be coming our way. So anyway, as a result of several ballistic studies, the U.S. Army determined that a 6.8 millimeter diameter, .277 caliber bullet with a weight of approximately 135 grains would be optimal for what it believes will be the conditions of the future battlefield. It was provided to the competing manufacturers who were tasked with developing their own cartridge that used the projectile. It met the Army's ballistic requirements and weighed less than 762 NATO. So they were trying to outclass and outgun 6.5 Creedmoor and also 308 Winchester 762 by 51. The cartridge SIG developed for its NGSW firearms has been designated as the 6.8 by 51 millimeter common cartridge, or CC. So if I call it 277 Fury, I'm just kind of using a simple name to kind of make it easier for today's show. As can be inferred from the 51 millimeter part of its designation, the cartridge's case is the same length as 762 NATO, necessitating an AR-10 size firearms platform. The case is almost identical in diameter as well, meaning that the capacity in a box magazine is the same as 762 NATO. While the Army hasn't revealed the exact ballistic performance of the new cartridge, the 6.8 millimeter CC delivers more velocity than the M855A1 with a bullet more than twice as heavy. The Army claims that the new chambering is superior to both the 6.5 Creedmoor and 762 NATO at ranges up to 800 meters. And here's the kicker. This is what it had to do. It had to defeat level 3 armor with non-armor piercing ammunition up to 600 meters. So they're looking at going longer distances. They need something that's going to be able to drop those targets at a longer engagement point, which I think is great. I mean, personally, I think it's great. Okay, so finishing out the ammo, then we'll discuss. Since defeating body armor comes down in large part to velocity, every effort was made to get maximum performance out of the new cartridge. The result was a chambering that operates at very high pressure. And that's also kind of a controversial part, is what kind of wear and tear is this going to put on the barrels, the guns, which are not cheap, okay? The SAMI specs max out the cartridge at 80,000 PSI, or about 30% higher than the operating pressure of similar cartridges such as 762 NATO and 6.5 Creedmoor. So when SAMI certified the 277 Fury, which is the civilian version of the 6.8 CC, it included the warning that the cartridge, when loaded to pressure greater than 68,000 PSI, would require cartridge case and or firearms design that depart from traditional practices. This is exactly what SIG did, developing a hybrid metal case for the cartridge. As the unsupported portion of the brass cartridge case that protrudes from the rear of the chamber and the primer pocket cannot handle these pressures, the SIG design uses a stainless steel case head married to a brass case body. SIG claims the hybrid case design allows for an additional 350 feet per second in velocity over a conventional brass case. The commercial 277 Fury launches 150 grain pill at 2,830 feet per second from a 16-inch barrel, which is amazing ballistics, which approximately is the same as a 270 Winchester out of a 24-inch barrel. So then I was just sitting there thinking, well, why not just go with 270 since it's already out there? But you'd have to have a longer barrel in order to pull that off. So that's not going to happen. SIG also makes a reduced power version of the 277 Fury cartridge that uses a conventional all brass case and presumably operates at less than 68,000 PSI. Now, we were looking up the ammo cost before the show started, and we're looking at starting at about $1.30 a round for their ball ammo with a full brass case. And then it starts to get into the $2.50 per round price when you start getting into your soft points, your match grade ammunition, your bimetal case, and so on. So the ammo, is it really time to upgrade? So Squib, if you're there, I want to start with you, because I don't know if you're grabbing another cup of coffee. Squib, what do you think? Is it time for us to start to move away from 308 and 5.56 and just go with one standard, just kind of more powerful cartridge across the board?
All right. So special units aside because they do their own thing. They have
get it first
multiple
anyway.
calibers and they get the new stuff and they try this stuff out and they carry. It's kind of interesting. And, it's like, well, the Rangers carry this. Okay, your standard infantry guy doesn't, right? Stuff like that, right? So that aside, I don't see a need for it because of the fact that we've got to get NATO on board with it. We use the same stuff they use the same stuff we do. If anything, I think we're going to end up funding this. We're going to end up paying the bill for all of this. And I think it's just the military today has gone away from what it really is. The military now it's trendy, it's hip, it's politically correct. This is just them.
Defense force.
But the guys operating out in the Mideast, the guys that are out in the desert, which seems to be our theater as of the last 25 years, they want something that can reach out and drop those enemies without having to engage at a closer distance that 5.56 would necessitate.
So that's something I was going to bring up is I could see this used in different theaters of operations. If you go into, a Europe or, Western Europe, Eastern Europe type area, the Fury, I think, is too much gun because, we found this out in World War II. The M1 was too much gun, too much of a round. That's why everything started going to 30 carbine and 8mm Kurds and stuff like that. But if you go into, certain parts of Africa, Middle East, somewhere where the engagements are standoffish, even, Alps where you're shooting from hilltop to hilltop, then, have something that punches more, but then you're going to realize it's more rugged terrain where people are more standoffish. That means you got to get that weight up to those areas.
And part of it is just delivering that terminal performance at a longer distance. So just that one shot's going to be that one kill. And that's just the thing is the way that we're looking at these loadouts, you're potentially going to be carrying less ammo with a substantially heavier gun. We're talking 3 to 4 pounds more. Now, just remember, though, there's also the Spear LT, which is basically like it's going to be kind of the M4 replacement. That's going to be your 5.56 or 300 blackout. Comes in different sizes, like AR-15 size platform, whereas the Spear MCX is the larger of the guns. That's going to be like your Scar Heavy, basically. So yeah, like was mentioned earlier by what was it, the Shootist or Razor JV, that's probably going to be a Special Forces thing supplied initially as we kind of get used to it. And then the thing is, but as they move into the SIG platform for the LT, I could see them taking over the contract from FN for making the M4s. They'll start making their own, rifle when the LT goes full production. Yeah,
because isn't FN actually like produce them over there in Europe and then brought over, or are they produced here?
They've got a factory here, but I don't know if they bring in supplies from abroad or if everything's sourced here in the U.S. I really don't know. I would imagine. Well, they make their own barrels, so I would guess they probably do that here. And so the guns are made in the U.S. They've got their own factory here. They do make guns in Belgium still, maybe. They've got several factories in several countries. But yeah, so that would be one of those things. So I'm kind of curious if that means that SIG's going to lose their contract, or maybe there's going to be another competition for the M4 replacement, and this is just kind of the first phase. But ammunition wise, it is a very potent round, and I see where they're coming from. There's so many pros and cons to it. Like, you've got a costlier platform, which I guess it doesn't matter when the Army needs the weapons, they're going to get them. You're talking about possibly carrying less ammunition, but it is a better performing round. But like Squibb says, it's kind of a trendy thing. Is it just going to be a $20 billion, $10 billion, just mistake in the end because it didn't perform the way we thought it would?
Well, it kind of sounds like to me, I've never been in the military, but it kind of sounds like the military historically has been, instead of taking a scalpel, they take a hatchet whenever it comes to
machete.
Whenever it comes to weapons platforms, it's like, it's all this or all that. It's so they get economies of scale instead of, okay, we need this for this. We need this equipment for this specific type of use, and give it to the people that need it for that use. Now, if they all go to that SIG, whatever, to where everything's identical, then okay, cool. But we've seen it. It looks like an AR. So why get away from the M4 if everything's going to be the same except for the weight and size a little bit? all the training is going to be the same on each.
Yeah, is it worth doubling the price of the rifle? Because I think the LTs are going to run around $2,000. This MCX Spear is about a $7,000 to $8,000 gun, so a $7,000 gun without optics on it. So that's kind of, and I don't even know if that includes the suppressor. I'm assuming it includes the suppressor, which you'd have to. They did make a limited run of these for the civilian market, semi-auto versions you could get. So I don't know if those are all sold out, or if you can even. I've heard they're running around $8,000 if you want one. And so I don't know what our current 308s or 338 Lapulas cost that our soldiers are running out in the field. They're probably maybe about half that cost, maybe if they're running like a Knight's Armament or something like that, or maybe
but if they let's say there's some awesome science in this 3D printed suppressor, make a whole bunch of those and stick them on the ends of the FN of the current M4s. But if also the barrel is tuned differently, then you're starting to be like, okay, well, to get the accuracy, we need to do barrels. Well, then at that point, would it be better to go ahead and have someone else produce the entire rifle versus having our armors split everything apart, rebarrel them, and then make sure everything's good, and then re-zero and all yada 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 yada? Or would it be better for just to buy?
Yeah. Squib, you wanna talk to us a little bit about the caliber selection, and then we'll get to hillbilly, and then we'll get to single shot. So deciding to go this route, and I mean, what is it? What do you think, Squib? Is it about the current available options? Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, if I could, I'd like to address two things. The first is the comment made by the shootist that you put up there. The M4 and M16 are made at FNH USA. I've been there several times. 100% is made at FN, and it's outside subcontractors. Yes. When the government decides to purchase something made by a foreign company, one of their stipulations, the federal government, one of their stipulations is you have to make it here. Our testing stuff can come from overseas and that sort of thing, but you've got to make it here. The rule is you don't buy from an overseas supplier unless there are no American suppliers at all, or you've tapped out every single American manufacturer of this particular product, that they're making it to a mil spec. So if you've gone to every holster manufacturer in America and they're all at max capacity and you need more holsters, then you go overseas, that sort of thing, right? Okay. So yes, the FN factory is in South Carolina, just like the Beretta moved to Maryland and then they relocated to Tennessee. They came over here because the government said, if you want to make M9s, you've got to make them in America, that sort of thing. The civilian ones, you might find some stuff made in Italy, some parts made in Italy, some parts made over here. Civilian is different. That doesn't follow those federal procurement guidelines. This is a rule that says your tax dollars go back into America. So I want to, he's correct in that statement that they're 100% American made. I have FN parts on my AR-15. Everything but the receiver of my first AR was all FN made in South Carolina to mil spec. So that's one thing I want to clarify. So even if some of this stuff is being R&D'd overseas, or it's an overseas design or whatever it is, it's eventually going to move here if they follow their own rules. The next thing is the caliber selection, or the magazine capacity, or what sort of magazine it has, or the sights, or a lot of these things, in particular the caliber, is based off of what they think is going to happen in the next war, and also political pull. It's whose palm is getting greased, who's getting a kickback, that sort of thing. That's part of it. The other part of it is, hey, we see storm clouds on the horizon. We're going to be fighting a war over here. Now, we're not always right when we predict that. Or during the war or after the war, they do analysis of what happened. For example, in Vietnam, they decided to go with a lighter gun, a lighter round, and they had a spray and pray mentality. And we're pumping thousands of rounds into the jungle, not being able to see the enemy at close range, praying that one of these hits. And that was the doctrine. After Vietnam, the doctrine kind of changed, and it took a while to change too. And then there's different doctrines within different branches. The Marine Corps and the Army have different doctrines. When the Marine Corps is like, look, we don't have your budget, so we got to make the ammo count, so it's one shot, one kill, right? Whereas the Army can go, we can just buy whatever we want. I guarantee you the Army is the one that's going to spearhead this change. They're going to pay a lot of it. The Marine Corps may end up taking old Army guns and running with those for a while before they get this stuff, not because they're they're second guessing it per se, but literally because they have a smaller budget and they get a lot of handoffs from the Army. The Marine Corps got the M249 saw from the Army because the Army bought it and they go, we don't like this. And the Marine Corps said, we'll take it. And then they saw how the Marines were using it and go, hey, we want this again. Right. This has happened throughout military history with the United States. Right.
Yeah.
It's also like why the Marine Corps gave up its tanks. It's like, why do we have tanks when the Army has more tanks and they can do the job? We can put that money. We can literally put that money into new helicopters
to get the grunts in there, and then we just get them out. That's all we need, Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with the Marine Corps giving up its tanks, but they're literally doing it so they have more money for helicopters. Seriously. Whereas the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy doesn't worry about that sort of stuff because they have bigger budgets.
Yeah.
So this is something where they're saying we've been over in Iraq, we've been in Afghanistan, we're getting longer engagements. We need a harder hitting round at longer engagements. If we go to our next war,
go ahead.
If we go to our next war in a jungle, if we go to our next war in where we're shooting across valleys, like what Foos was talking about, that's why some of those European countries adopted the rounds that they did in the 20s, 30s, 40s, well, even before then, right? Because they were literally in mountainous terrain and things like that. Then is this round going to work? Or are we going to do an evaluation and years after that, or some time midway through the conflict, try to do some sort of quick fix? So this is, if you look at military history in the United States, I'm talking about going back to the Revolutionary War. Look at the guns they carried. Look at how many rounds they were given a year to train. There was a point where the soldier only got 3 rounds a year, seriously. And they were finding out these guys couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So, the civilian marksmanship program came about because they wanted the average American to improve as far as knowing how to use a gun, first off, and then marksmanship, so that if they got drafted, there was less effort to train them, that sort of thing. So all these things have gone on. So I understand where they're coming from if they're saying, look, man, we're looking at 20 years worth of data fighting in the desert, and the 5.56 isn't cutting it for a squad automatic weapon and for a designated marksman rifle and for the average infantry guy. I get that. But I'm just saying that they're going to spend a lot of money and they're going to do all this other stuff. And the way the military has gone in the past 20 years, it's for me, it's from the old Corps. This is more of a fashion statement. I'm not saying it won't be effective, but I could see them ending up with this and then changing their minds later. And because that's the way history, it just repeats itself.
Well, Razor JV said, this is going to be just like the SCAR. Like, it isn't going to be universally adopted. It's going to be some massive program we're going to invest in with a really expensive gun. And it's going to be, something that's going to be more popular with the civilian market than the military in the end,
And that's just it. I see a lot of civilian hype on this. I see a lot of people saying, when am I going to get this? I want this. This is the newest, coolest thing. The Army uses it. I want to use it. And you hear this crap all the time. And it's like, guys, don't get me wrong. I think the M16, M4, AR-15 is an outstanding platform to teach somebody on, especially somebody who's never handled a gun before. If you want to train conscripts quick, this is a good gun, and it does a lot of things and it can be reconfigured. But the way you guys use your civilian AR-15s isn't the way the military uses an M4 carbine. And this crap you see in the movies isn't the way they really fight in some cases. It really isn't. So when I hear somebody talking about military doctrine and military hardware, but they're using a civilian spin on it, it's apples to oranges. It really is.
Now, real quick here, X Adam 1 says, all this talk about the politics behind the question. I'm taking the question at face value. It's been years. It's time to innovate and upgrade. If nothing changes, then nothing will ever change.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, part of me is like under the adage, if it ain't broke, why fix it? But then again, if there's needs that we have and our battlefield is changing and we want to pull our soldiers back a little bit and send something downrange and take out the baddies, at a longer distance, I'm fine with that, If it's going to save American lives, all for it, bro.
Innovating is fine, but you have to innovate and solve the problem at hand. And just because it solves one problem does not mean that answer needs to go, in this case, military wide. So say like, if have your mountain guys that if they're going to be shooting, if you think they're going to be shooting mountain to mountain, give something longer, flatter, awesome. If they're going to be shooting out in a desert, a really flat terrain, fine, awesome. But if it's wooded area, you're not going to see, let alone hit something at 1,000 yards.
Yeah. Real quick, let's let Hillbilly chime in.
Sorry.
American Hillbilly, let's go and chime in on this one. What are your thoughts on this, man? Going up to a more powerful, more potent round. Is it time? Do you think we need this? I mean, do you think it's time we get out there and get something that can reach out and touch someone and be a little more lethal, or are we okay where we are right now?
Well, I mean, regardless, I believe military deserves the best of whatever we can get them. For one, regardless price or anything like that. I totally agree with what everybody's been saying. I mean, is this a gun that's going to work well in the deserts or long range, but is it going to work great in the jungles? We heard stories that in Vietnam, our soldiers were picking up SKSs and using them because they ran great in the wet, muddy, terrain and things like that. So, it's going to be something that, should be well tested, mud, water, desert, cold, and that's just something that's going to take time. But I believe we should give our military just whatever they want. But the main thing is they need to run this in front of the ATF and see what they think about it. So.
Oh no! Don't say that. Then you'll start getting velocity limits on ammo and whatever because it's more powerful than we need for a civilian. Well, let's not even give any ideas, dude. It's bad enough what we're dealing with right now. So, all right, single shot. What about you? What do you think about this whole discussion? Do you think it's time to upgrade a more potent round?
Well, there's been a couple of good points here made so far that I totally agree with. The way that they made the decision on the 5.56 was quite a few facts to it there. The older weapons were heavy, they were hard recoiling, and a lot of the people didn't like that, so they changed their doctrine about the one shot, one kill. This is way back then now. And they went to the 5.56 because they figured that if someone got wounded, it would take two other soldiers to get them off the battlefield. Mm-hmm. So you got three people out of the picture. Now that they're going to these custom designer rounds, the way that I think that they ought to be thinking about this is the application of what they're going to be doing, i.e. the different teams, the different regions of engagement, things like this, the special groups that's in the military. That, I think you said it was a 6.8 Fury. That thing sounds like it's a pretty decent cartridge.
So,
but for total overall use, for everybody, no, I don't think that's going to work. I mean, we've got the 6.8 SPC, which I have a barrel for the Encore. And I like it. It's a nice little cartridge. It's got enough horsepower to do what's got to be done at shorter ranges, and it's harder hitting than the 5.56. You hit somebody with a 6.8, they're not going to ask for seconds.
Yeah.
So, that's my opinion as far as this. It's concerned if they want to move to like the 6.8 Fury. For the long range guys, marksmen, snipers, stuff like this, then yeah. But I don't think we ought to get rid of the 5.56, for general overall purpose.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to disappear. Yeah. The fact they're offering that the MCX LT, which is basically kind of the upgraded M4, it's going to stay with 5.56 and 300 blackout. But at some point, who knows?
It's it's still a very viable cartridge. And the old way of thinking is still good. It's going to take two people to haul somebody off the battlefield that's been wounded in a general fighting situation. Door to door, I definitely go with the 6.8 SPC. But for long range, I would use that 6.8 Fury.
And see, you're thought process there is that we're fighting somebody who fights like we fight, because they taught us the same thing. They told us it took 5 guys out because 4 guys would carry him off, even though you and I know 1 guy or 2 guys can carry him off the battlefield. And if we're fighting an organized, uniformed military who honors the Geneva Convention and is like us, yes, they're going to carry away their wounded. But the bad guys we've been fighting, they leave their people out there. So if we're trying to wound somebody to take more people out of the fight, on paper it sounds good. And if we were fighting, say, the British military or the German military or the Japanese military today, because they fight like we do, right? Yes. But if we're fighting insurgents or terrorists, no. Or maybe even like the Chinese military. Could you imagine if we went into North Korea? Do you think they'd carry their wounded off the battlefield? They won't.
They can't. They physically couldn't pull them off anyway.
Yeah. So those are things to consider. However, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's just it. They're sitting around a boardroom talking about this, and you've got a lot of these guys who went to the war college who are going, yeah, this is, and that's the way it's supposed to work. But then you got that one lieutenant or captain who's been out there and seen it, and he's just face palming because he can't say anything, because he knows this colonel or this general is going to go, you don't know anything. I went to the Army War College. And it's like, sir, have you ever actually been in combat?
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, and the reason I said the rifle and the round has to be selectively used is they've dusted off M14s, got them accurized, and sent those into the desert for the longer range applications. So it's already a thing, pulling something else long range into where you need it. This is, I think, it seems like it's more of a, okay, this is a thing. Let's make sure we have the optimal rifle for the thing. Yep. And if that's the case, that's what they're trying to do, I'm all for it. But
one point that I'd still like to make. Point that I'd still like to make. In a battlefield condition, ammo is always short. Mm-hmm. So when you've got different countries using all the same ammo, it's got its disadvantages and its advantages. Advantages, they could pick that ammo up and use it in their own firearms. And if we swap calibers to like the 6.8 SPC, they just can't pick that stuff up and use it in their firearms against us.
We can leave them behind pallets of rifles and ammo like we've done before. I mean, that's not it. They can reverse engineer it and just make their own. I mean, I'm sure none of those things are going to start showing up on this side of the world. No, that would never happen.
In the same sense, though, our allies have to be on board with this too. If you give the special forces and they use it, that's one thing, right?
Yeah.
But if we're out there on the battlefield and we're, believe me, the whole working together is under the United Nations is a total cluster. But regardless, our magazines are interchangeable. Some of our firearm components and things like that are interchangeable. Some of the training we do is the same, some is different. The ammunition is interchangeable. When that Canadian made that long distance shot with a 50 cal sniper rifle and set the world record that's been broken a couple times since then, he used American ammunition, which shot further than his Canadian ammunition, but they both fed in his rifle. And that's just it. If our allies don't get on board with this, we're going to have a hard time pushing it. And that's something to consider. Also, Single Shot brought up the fact of how well does this thing perform in the sand or the mud or whatever. They could, say this platform is awesome, and the thing runs like crap, and they're going to be picking up AKs off the battlefield in order to fight just because they need something that runs. It could turn out to be a big money pit, and they're pulling M4s out of the armory. Not that those things don't jam up with sand, but I suppose it's going to come down to how well are these things maintained and what's that going to cost us and that sort of thing as well.
See, so something I'm wondering about with that much pressure, how let's say they go to the
10,000 psi round,
the 80,000 psi. What's the pressure whenever that bolt opens and unlocks? Like, basically, what I'm trying to get at is how much air is going to be coming.
I'm going to cover it when we get into the technical specs on the XM5. I've got that information for you, actually.
Okay, cool.
Because, we'll get into because it does have its own kind of unique system that it uses because of the pressures and stuff. So, and it looks like it does have an adjustable gas block on it also.
Well, the point I was getting to is if it has enough pressure, it could be blowing a lot of sand out the ejection port along with the case.
True. Sure.
get a lot of debris out of there, as long as your bolt face and your bolt to your upper is tight, tight enough to where it, can actually redirect sand and dirt. So you're just not blowing anything that's in that chamber area back into the bolt and into the bottom mechanism.
Hey, American Hillbilly, do you want to add in on this one?
Yeah, I just
go ahead.
Kind of going to elaborate a little bit there. One thing I think, I don't know what the recoil is on this, but that's something that should be considered. I mean, there's a reason why, 18-year-old kids, they ain't shooting a 300 Win mag and carrying a 500 Magnum sidearm,
Nebraskans do, but yeah. Okay.
But also,
Maine too.
Yeah.
I think, whatever platform they choose, the mechanical part of it is going to be such a big deal. The breakdown, the cleaning, on the field, stuff like that. I mean, there's a reason the AK ran so well. It's just so, stupidly simple.
Just loose tolerances, and it just
yeah. And
for the most part, it's like you can just dump gravel on and expect it to function under full auto fire. But I mean, it's hard to dispute that it can't handle the elements, All right, so real quick, couple things. Kevin Jung, one of the specs on that. So the 6.8 by 51 millimeter CC specs on the 80,000 PSI cartridge. It's a .278 bullet diameter. Bullet weight's 135 grains. Out of a 13-inch barrel, 2,950 feet per second, 2,609 foot-pounds of energy. And then the cartridge weight, well, you have to worry about that. And that's with 80,000 PSI. So that is outperforming 762 by 54R out of a 23-inch barrel. So basically it performs at 270. A 270 out of a 24-inch barrel is going to perform about the same as the 6.8 by 51 millimeter 277 Fury military variant cartridge, just to let you know. And they're also going to have a steel penetrator core in that round so it can defeat body armor, because body armor is basically cheap and readily available all around the world. So that's something we're running into more and more with our adversaries. That's another part of it too, is we've got to get through that body armor to take down our adversaries, because even the common whatever on the battlefield is wearing it now, just because it's so plentiful and so easy to get. So XM5 rifle. All right. So here's the details on the rifle, which you guys can see right here. Let's see here. It's basically based on the commercially available MCX, which combines features of the M16 with a short stroke piston and recoil spring system that mimics the AR-18. All right. SIG has already scaled up the 5.56 MCX to AR-10 size to accommodate a 308 Winchester class cartridge. And then they kind of talk about it. So this platform is available in multiple cartridges. This gun you're looking at right here, the XM5, it's not just going to be 277 SIG Fury. It will be other cartridges too. The XM5 controls are M16 style, rendered bilaterally for full ambidextrous use. The magazine release, bolt release, and safety selector are present on both sides of the rifle, along with a bilateral AR-type charging handle. Additionally, there's a second non-reciprocating charging handle position on the left side of the receiver, which you guys can see in the picture right there. The rifle utilizes an M4-style forward assist device and case deflector. While having a general M4 familiarity, the exterior of the XM5 is also updated. Aluminum alloy handguard, has M-lock slots, built-in push-button sling swivel sockets. The XM5 mechanism uses a multi-lug rotating bolt. Function is provided by a short stroke gas piston with an adjustable gas regulator. The upper and lower receivers are made of aluminum alloy with steel inserts in high wear locations. So that's a little bit different than what we see on traditional AR-10s and AR-15s. Because of the gas piston design and recoil springs contained within the receiver, the XM5 stock not only telescopes like an M4, but also folds to the left side, and the rifle can be fired with the stock folded over. So it does have that option because of the short stroke gas piston system. The barrel has a tapered heavy profile and is held in place by a clamping system that uses two Torx head screws that allow it to be removed in the field. The rifle supplied with with a two-stage match trigger, uses SR25 pattern magazines, and is capable of both semi and automatic fire. And it's designed to be used in conjunction with the suppressor. So I think it was Razor JB was saying that it has to have the suppressor in order to function. And that's, I mean, now you can say, well, that's going to make that thing super long. It is, but there's different sizes of this platform too. It's not just this full-size model that you're going to get. There's going to be different iterations of it also. Razor JB says the recoil itself isn't that bad. It's more than an M4, but not bad. What makes it bad is the weight combined with the recoil, which makes it horrible for the average soldier. So yeah, we were talking, I'm reading The XM5's overall length is 36 inches with a suppressor attached. It weighs 9 pounds and 14 ounces. This is no provision for, and there's no provision for mounting a bayonet. Now I believe that's without an optic. So throw a 2-pound optic on there, and you've got a gun that actually weighs more than a Century C308. So you're pushing over 11 pounds for the XM5. You guys want to say anything on this particular one before we go to the XM250? Anything else you guys want to mention at all, or because we've discussed it quite a bit?
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, and let's throw a bipod on there. Let's throw any extra gear. Now that's without a light. That's without a laser, which the optic is going to provide for. The optic is, in my opinion, just amazing. I think the optic is probably one of the best pieces of this kit, and we'll talk about the optic here in a little bit. It's expensive, but it's going to work. So
Yeah.
Now, so the shooter says my son has the MCX. It has those steel inserts. Honestly, the rifle's pretty good, but it's heavy for the 5.56. So shooters, I take it it's the MCX LT, which is like the shrunk down version of what you see right here. It's kind of like what the Scar Light is to the Scar Heavy. It's kind of that design where it looks like it, but it's obviously chambered for a smaller round. So it is going to be a little bit different. Let's see here. Luke B says, if anyone here reloads for 10mm, have you ever used tight group? I've read mixed opinions, but I have so much of it. Reloaders, you guys want to chime in real quick before we go on?
I don't know about 10 mil, but I've been using 4.2 grains in 40, and it's been shooting fine. It really heats up your gun because it's
but
really
tight group
hot.
is the brand, isn't it? Isn't that the brand powder? Okay.
No, that's the type of powder. So
Yeah,
okay.
It's like, let's say you're IMR or whatever. That's the type, not the company. So yeah, tight group. I've used it in 40. It should be fine in 10 mil.
I would load a couple different grain weights of bullet, a couple different powder weights, maybe take some various combinations out, and then see what performs best for you. What cycles the best, what's most comfortable for you to shoot, what performs the best.
So I mean, I use 4.2 grains in 40, and it feels like it's running, possibly high 900s. I would say. That's what it feels like, because I have other guns that I've chronoed at that, and it feels the same. Whether or not it actually is moving that fast, I don't know. I've never chronoed them. But tight group is an extremely fast, hot burning powder. Hot meaning temperature, but it's a fast, and it does spike in pressure. So I would, if you're going to do 10mm, start with 4.2, 4.3 grains, and just work up and make sure you look for pressure signs, look for flattening primer or stuff like that.
Yeah, so Hodgson or whatever makes the tight group powder. Is that correct? Yeah. Luke B says I normally use blue dot or long shot for hunting loads, GFE pistol for plinking.
I mean, so tight group is a shotgun powder. It's getting into 40 and some bigger cases like 10 mil. It's stretching it because it spikes in pressure so early.
Okay. So, hey, man, we've got reloading information for you. We've done a lot of reloading podcasts, too. Kingpin did put a link out there for an awesome show on an awesome reloading channel that's over there Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that'd be 7 p.m. Central time. And if you click on that link right there, Georgia Shooting Connection. Yeah, you can't go wrong. There's a lot of support out there in the reloading community that I think is, if you need that info, just watch those. Chime in with your comments or questions. Maybe drop a super chat for $1 or $2 and make some new friends, right? Okay, now we will go ahead and switch on over to the XM250. So let's go ahead and share the screen real quick here and show you guys what this looks like. So I'm assuming, if I'm not mistaken, this would be the saw replacement. So this is what we have here, essentially a belt-fed version of the XM5/XM7. So the XM250 automatic rifle, SIG's winning automatic rifle design is based on the company's MG338, a belt-fed 338 Norma Mag chambered machine gun designed for U.S. Special Operations. The XM250 is an air-cooled belt-fed design that fires from an open bolt. The action is gas-operated with a short-stroke gas piston system and is capable of both semi-automatic and full auto fire. If I'm not mistaken, I think the belt actually moves. It actually recoils, or not the belt, I'm sorry, the barrel actually moves within the action to kind of mitigate the recoil. Its rate of fire is between 650 and 750 rounds per minute, depending on the ammunition that's used. When SIG has been tight-lipped about the internal features of the XM250, some design features can be inferred from details found on the company's machine gun patent applications. So this is what we can tell you. The XM250 uses the recoil mitigation system of its 338 Big Brother, where the rotating bolt operates within a barrel extension that is fixed to the barrel and recoils within the outer receiver. With the bolt and barrel extension using separate recoil springs, SIG claims that the XM250's felt recoil is less than an M4. And there's videos where you can see guys shooting this thing. I think Grand Thumb maybe even tried this one, or I think TFB TV's shown it off before also. So you can actually see the thing being fired. Although the XM250's 16-inch barrel is quick change with the rotation of a collar, unlike the M249, it's not designed to be swapped under combat conditions. The XM250's barrel retaining system makes it field adaptable for other cartridges in the 7.62 NATO class. And then finally, the XM250 is fed from a 100-round disintegrating link belt. These belts are housed in a polymer and canvas box that attaches below the gun with a mag well connection. And you can see that right there in the picture. Belts can be loaded into the gun whether the bolt is forward or backwards in either safe or fire mode with the feed tray open or closed. And unlike the M249, there's no provision that allows use of a detachable box magazine. The XM250 uses a left side charging handle and has a bilateral safety selector switch. Weight on this one, let's see here. The XM250 is designed to be used with the same suppressor as the XM5. Despite its visual bulk, the XM250 with bipod and suppressor weighs 3 pounds and 8 ounces less than the M249 and is 13 pounds lighter than the 7.62 NATO M240B. The size and weight of XM250, along with its ability to fire semi-automatic, suggests that it can be used as a rifle in close quarters engagements, or when combined with the new magnified optic, a more precise DMR at longer ranges. Whew, man, this is a lot of information for today. All right, so what do you think, guys? Is this a viable replacement for the M249? Is it time to move the M249 out? Any thoughts on this one, guys? And Kingpin, to answer your question, I will be getting to that here in just a little bit. So we'll talk about the optic next. That's the next part. So,
if they swap the caliber of what they're giving to the frontline troops, yeah. I mean, you had to have common caliber just for logistics.
So Squib, I want to pick your brain on this one. Is this going to outclass and outgun the M60 or what? You might be away from the.
Well, it may.
It might. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I mean, the caliber could do it, and if it's lighter than the M60, that's all positive.
Yeah.
I don't know, the 100-round links, that doesn't seem like very much.
No, not on that.
Not on a suppressive style weapon.
I would like to ask something that I don't really know about. I don't really shoot suppressed guns. I don't have any right now, but on a lot of this stuff, the adjustable gas block, is that going to be a problem for young soldiers? Will they?
No, because it's going to be there's only so many settings to it, so it's either going to run or not. If it doesn't, you turn the knob till the gun functions. You're going to don't tell them like a default setting for that ammo. This ammo is going to run this setting. Yeah.
And all that is not going to be. You're not going to be in a firefight adjusting that. It's going to be set and forget it. So it's going to be.
And you can also do a single shot setting on it. So if they're going to do like a single suppressed shot with like say a subsonic round, they just want one shot, maybe one kill. You can set it for just a single, so it's not going to auto. It's not going to go into full auto. When you pull the trigger. Yeah.
Is this a quick question? Is this shooting from open bolt or closed?
It'll do either or.
Oh, okay.
The way they explained it is that So I mentioned it earlier.
So it has a hammer and or striker. It's not okay.
250.
Okay, so
capable of both semi-auto and full auto fire. Let's see. I'd mentioned it earlier. It's something that I covered all. I can't remember either or. So I know you can reload it. You can reload it from an open or closed bolt position, according to what they said. So yeah.
If it fires from an open bolt, you have neither a striker or a hammer.
No.
That firing pin is it's fixed.
Not necessarily. No.
That's the way it's advised. I carried an M60 for quite a while, so yeah.
I mean, there could still be striker to where it's open, and as soon as it closes, it trips something to to set it off. But open bolt, closed bolt, it depends because closed bolt with the heat, you can cook off rounds. Open bolt, there's less of that. So if it's open bolt, you're not going to be using this in a single round because you're going to have all that weight being moved whenever you pull the trigger. But having it suppressed, you're going to have the gas setting for suppressor, not suppressor, whatever, and then you're not going to be in the middle of a firefight.
Okay, it fires from an open bolt. Fusa does fire from an open bolt. Yeah.
I figured it would.
Reloaded from open or closed bolt, though, according to the literature right here. So,
so
go ahead. Yeah.
The reason that it probably depicts that is I know like the MG42 and a bunch of its derivatives, you had to have the bolt back so the cam pin would be in the slot, and I think that the saw changed that to where you wouldn't damage the gun if you loaded it with a closed bolt.
Okay. So this is interesting. Supplying the suppressor. I think the whole idea for that, the whole suppressor thing, is going to be for hearing, some sort of hearing protection. That's why you're seeing the suppressors basically being. Aren't the Marines now issuing the suppressors? It's just all across the board. They're all going out now with the suppressors on their firearms. And yeah, SIG is 3D printing these now too, so they can churn them out like nothing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
And so I don't know, what kind of service life you get on the suppressor, like what you're looking at before it's going to have to be replaced. But I mean, maybe I don't know, 20, 50,000 rounds. I'm not sure what the life expectancy is on these suppressors, but yeah. So,
and something cool with these 3D printed suppressors is you could get the geometry in there to where it's minimal back pressure through the actual gun, because that will also increase, bolt speed. It'll increase, wear and tear on the other parts. So the 3D printed suppressors, that's going to be the way suppressors are built in probably 5 years. All this, creating baffles, stacking them together, that's going to be a non-issue.
Well, and that suppressor is also going to help it's going to keep you disguised at long distances, so you can't be identified from a muzzle flash. If it does that, you might see the dust come up, but
yeah, true. But suppressor, it's you're still going to hear the supersonic round after the round's past you, but the suppressor is going to kind of camouflage where that round is coming from.
Yeah. Just real quick, Kingpin says the U.S. government better buy a bunch of R&L displays for these new guns. So make sure you guys check out rnldisplays.com. Again, they're not a direct sponsor of the channel, but they've sent me some testers, and I do appreciate what they do. So make sure you guys get the fine display furniture for your fine firearms. And yes, they do offer a Glock-compatible PCC variant you can pick up. So head over to rnldisplays.com and get your display. Use discount code TravisP11. And also, as always, you'll get not just 10% off your order if you use the discount code TravisP11, but an additional 5% off your order too. And if Common Core math does me right, that's 14% off. So anyway, 15. I did that on purpose. So anyway, that's just my little ramble. But no, Foosh, we're making a good point. I think the suppressor, I don't think it's a bad deal. I don't think it's a bad thing. But if it has to have it on there, you just hope that you wouldn't have some sort of suppressor failure when you're out in the field. I mean, that could be the only thing you could run into. You could remove it, obviously, but then who knows what that does to the ballistics and so on. And again, Razor JB kind of makes a good point here. Adjustable gas blocks have no purpose on a duty gun, period. I almost feel like that should almost be like a special forces only thing, because to sit there and fiddle with a gas block in the middle of combat because your gun's not cycling. I mean, I've just stupid case in point. I've got an AK pattern shotgun that's got like a 5-position gas block. And you have to sit there for running that ammo through. If it's not cycling, you have to stop, adjust the gas block, whatever, lock it back up, do another shot, try to get it to cycle, adjust the gas block. You're sitting there. I couldn't imagine doing something like that under combat fire. To me, it just seems like another maintenance issue that should be a non-issue on the battlefield. That's why we don't have the adjustable gas block. We don't really need it on just your basic gas impingement driven AR-15s, Now, if you're going to be running some sort of special forces ops where you need certain kinds of ammo or subsonic or harsh conditions or prolonged engagements where you might not be able to service the weapon easily, I get why they have it, because that gas block allows more or less gas so that the gun will cycle under the worst conditions of all time, or will at least allow it to do single shot, single charge mode when necessary. If all else fails, it'll still run. So that's essentially how it's going to happen.
The only time it was practical was on the M249. You could increase the rate of fire, but you literally did it to break the carbon up in the gun.
Oh, okay.
You would crank up the rate of
Shake it out,
fire,
essentially, just blow it out.
more or less, yeah. And then you're supposed to crank it back down, because if you left it cranked up, then it would just gum up again, and now you're really screwed.
Now, the last part of this little presentation for today, class, is the XM157 next generation squad weapon optic, which I love this thing. This thing is just cool, mainly because I've tried a Burris Eliminator 2 or 3. And that had the built-in rangefinder with the dot, the ballistics drop dot, and it felt like a video game. It would tell me where the bullet was going to go, and I've got video of me shooting this thing 500-600 yards. I wasn't even trying. I was just putting the dot on. You punch in the ammunition that you're running, the grain weight, your altitude, and it would tell you what your bullet drop is going to be predicted for that round. And dang it, if I wasn't hitting 5-6 inch plates at 500-600 yards, not even trying. And I'm not a good shot. I'm not a trained shot. So some of you might have had military training. You're good at that. You can do that all day. I can't. But that made it super, super easy for me to do so. So to put that kind of potential in the hands of the everyday soldier, okay, I feel like it is kind of taking some of the marksmanship out of it, but these guys would still go through their basic training. So this optic, real quick, it's called the XM157. It is max price. Let's just get this out of the way. It could cost up to $10,800 per optic if you figure the max contract price on these things. Vortex is making them. They have a special weapons division that's making these for the Army, servicing them, creating them. Everything's 100% sourced in the USA. That way, if there's any supply chain issues, it's not going to stop us being able to make our weapons of war, our tools of war, all right? So what's all on this thing? What makes it so incredibly cool? Well, we can talk about the optic real quick here. So it's called the XM157 fire control system. The competition for the optic sight or fire control system, there was submissions from Vortex and L3 Harris, which is the former parent company of EOTech. The winner was Vortex's offering, designated as the XM157. At the heart of the XM157 smart optic, as they're calling it, is a conventional 1:8 power LPVO rifle scope with a 30mm objective lens and etched reticle that can operate without battery power. I mean, that's a good thing right there. Prism scopes, prism style, I love that. The smart side of the XM157 is information that can be projected as a digital active reticle onto a see-through display in the scope's first focal plane. This allows for a customizable display. The XM157 will be made entirely in America of US-made components. Vortex is scheduled to supply 257,000 of these optics over the next decade at a cost of up to $2.7 billion. As is apparent from that quantity, the XM157 is intended to be used not only on NGSW weapons, but also on legacy platforms such as the M4. So what exactly does this optic have that makes it just absolutely magic? It has a laser rangefinder. It has a PEQ-15 laser style system built into it, variable scope, atmospheric sensor, ballistic reticle, like drop predictor, where's your round going to go. Also infrared lamps, if I'm not mistaken, are also built into it, so you can light up your target. They're also talking about allowing it to paint and tag your enemy on the battlefield, and that information gets projected to your squad mates. So as they drag, and it's going to light up your enemy in red like Call of Duty, and that supposedly was an enemy that somebody else on your squad had tagged before. Hopefully that doesn't increase friendly fire issues, because if I'm shooting at somebody, they're shooting back, and I light them up with that laser, and then everybody else can see them and they shoot at them, I would hope it's not one of my squad mates. But I'm just saying that kind of, like, if I'm pinned down and I've tagged somebody and you see them and you can get to them to save me, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. So I mean, it is just a wicked optic. Full weather protection, obviously. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Is this the way to go? Do we need an all-in-one package? Weight of it is not worse than most of the LPVOs that we're currently using. They've made it to be lightweight. Aluminum housing, it's designed to be, granted, probably pushes close to 2 pounds, but then again, so do some of the larger optics like an ACOG and so on. So what do you guys think? Take it away. XM157. Yeah.
They've dumbed down marksmanship because kids today are entitled sissies.
Well, no, it's because we let them play video games growing up, and they think it's just a matter of putting a red dot on your target and pulling the trigger.
Yeah, but
so I'm just saying,
there's more. There's more to it than that. But yeah, I mean, that's in general. That's it. And if they want to make this work like a video game, because they're like, look, these kids have been playing these things for decades. This just fits right into it. I get it, and it might even make some of the training a little bit more appealing, because
imagine
they don't want to go into the military, even though today the military is hip and trendy. And honestly, if it keeps going in the direction it's going, we're going to start losing wars. We
Oh,
are.
come on. These kids should be able to have TikTok channels from their platoons when they're on active duty in basics. They should be able to dance around and smile and bounce around and laugh. You know, I mean, I'm sure when the gunfire starts, they'll just start making their TikTok videos and laughing and smiling and going viral.
They're
And,
not
you
gonna
know,
be laughing on that first.
I'm a little critical of that because I'm getting
these.
I'm getting these YouTube short feeds now from the military that kids are making, people, not kids, but soldiers are making, like, around the world.
They're kids.
Other kids are making these things, and it's like they're letting this happen on bases. They're letting kids go viral and publish their videos on active combat time or training time on my tax dollar. They're making TikTok videos. Wow. Okay.
One more little comment that I'm gonna make. What Scotty said on one of the Star Trek series movies. The more plumbing you have on the system, the easier it is to stop it up.
There you go. There you go.
He's right. So here's the thing. If they're dependent on this thing and it breaks down on the battlefield, they're screwed.
Well, they're going to have offset 45-degree iron sights the way that it's being equipped, the way that I've been seeing it. Both
nowadays in basic, they're giving them red dots. They're not teaching them real marksmanship. You know, there's a lot of other things that I'm willing to bet they're not doing so that these guys understand how to survive out there. You're not always going to have a helicopter come in and dust you off and things like, I mean, it's not, I understand our technology is better and why not use it and that sort of thing. At $10,000 a unit, although the government isn't going to pay that much, they're going to pay less. I don't see them issuing these out to every single person in the field. If they do, okay, I get it. But I'm just saying that there's
if they're doing 250,000, they're going to go on every projected rifle. I mean, every XM5 and XM250 is going to get it because they want that. But then probably also the LTs when the standard infantryman gets his 5.56 issue rifle.
To give you an idea, my M16A2 cost the government under $500 back in the 90s. All right, and that was
now
standard.
Now it's $1,500 for the civilian to buy one if you want the M4 clone. Non-auto, but it's a clone. It's the M4.
What I'm saying is they pay less than we do. All right, people can talk about it, but it's not why people think. And you have this guy never served a day in the military on his channel. Regardless, they're going to pay what, $5,000 for this rifle, $10,000 for this optic. The ammo is how much around? Blah 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 blah. No, they're not going to put that much into the average guy who's out there just as a regular grunt or doing sentry duty or something else like that. I don't see the government putting that much. They spend a fortune on the training as is. Now you're going to tell me they're going to gear up. I remember when they came out with those new body armor vests, the flak jacket, we call them flak jackets, new flak jackets that would stop an AK round flat. And these things were $2,500 each, and they weren't issuing them to everybody. And there were rich parents that were buying these things illegally, by the way, and shipping them to Afghanistan so their kid would be protected. And it's like, he's going to stick out like a sore thumb. He puts this thing on and his commander's going to go, where did you get that from? And next thing you know, the FBI's knocking on mom and dad's door going, this is illegal for you to own. Now, I'm not saying I think it should be illegal, but what I'm saying is they didn't even issue these things, even though they would save lives. They didn't even issue because of the money. Because of the money. Right. So I just don't see them handing a $15,000 or more standard infantry rifle to every swinging you-know-what out there. I just don't see it.
Yeah, so Razor JB says, this gun and optic is not going to all members of the Army. No, I understand that. What I was curious about is the MCX LT going to replace the current M4 over time if SIG keeps a contract? Because if they're talking a 10-year production run, then I could see them phasing out the FN M4s and then SIG pushing in there because of just the compatibility and the similarities between that and the, your XM5 and your MCX LT, and then also your XM250. The only thing I will say about this optic, so Swift, I don't disagree with you at all. Basic marksmanship with iron sights, that's fundamental. That needs to be, that is it. I learned that when I was a little kid at YMCA camp shooting with iron sights and a single shot bolt action rifle, a little 22. That's how I learned the basics of trigger discipline and hitting my target, right? But you're right. It is the video game generation coming in. And somebody made a good point. What if we have an EMP attack somewhere on a foreign battlefield or domestically? Those optics shut down. Are those EMP resistant? Probably not, but they do have the edge reticle. So the optic itself is still going to work, but then your battlefield information is done. I will say this. If they teach these kids the basic marksmanship, if they keep that there, they keep that component of iron sights and then say maybe their advanced training, they get to learn to use this squad optic. I'm fine with this. If this is going to, if it's going to offer all the stuff that they normally already have to strap onto the gun, if it's going to get them the infrared laser and the light. Now, Razor JB says, such a small percentage of the Army that uses anything beyond a basic M4. I get it. But if this is going to give us any kind of tactical advantage, I'm fine with that. I think it's great. Just, like I said, playing with that Burris with just a ballistic predicted drop, that made me much more confident right there just sitting on the firing line. I wasn't even trying. I wasn't even having to focus on my shots. Put the red dot on the blue steel plate, bing, every time. I didn't even have to try. So, I mean, I'm fine with this. If it's going to give us a tactical advantage over our enemies, hey, I'm all for it. That's fine. Even at the tune of $10,000 a piece. But if they just say, this is all you need, and they're not giving us iron sights anymore, and there's no more offset iron sights being put on the gun, man, you drop that thing or something happens to it, or you take a bullet through it or something. I mean, I'm just saying that, what are you going to do after that, So, yeah, I mean, I'm just a little scared with the way that things are going. Are we losing our toughness, in the military? We're going to need every advantage we can get. So, yeah, that's all I got to say. What else?
But this sort of stuff is why we're losing our toughness.
Well, if they keep the same standards, but give us this technological advantage, this could be very useful, especially if it's displaying information on the squad, or maybe there's maps that pop up, and I don't know, something to give you a tactical advantage. I'm fine with that. Now, is that going to do anything for CQB? Maybe not, but the idea of having all that stuff already built into one unit, instead of strapping 4 different tools on your gun, it all sits on top of your scope. That's cool with me. Everything short of, say, a flashlight. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
This way, this old man with his World War II weapons will beat these punk kids in great health with their first-person shooter video game experience every single day in the real world.
See, I don't know if these
kids, single day.
Do these kids understand that there is no respawn on the battlefield? You don't just put your 6 plates in and pat yourself up with an adrenaline shot when you get shot. You're going to poop yourself when you get shot, okay? So, again, not to scare somebody out of the military, but it's not the glamour that COD predicts it as. You guys need to understand that. And I'm not anti-military at all, but somebody's going into it thinking it's going to be fun. I mean, I'm already seeing some videos of what is it? There's people posting videos of basic training fails. And I'm sure that stuff has always been happening since the beginning of time. But some of the stuff is just like the kid sitting on the line and his gun's not going off because he didn't put a mag in. It's like, what? How would you not even think? Are you not thinking that maybe I need to feed my weapon? I don't know. So this is a discussion. Is the Army getting weak? Next Saturday's topic. Is the Army getting weak? Yes or no? That might be a pretty interesting discussion. So
I'm not saying the innovative technology is a bad thing. I'm not saying that at a certain point there's time for a change or improvement, or that these don't have their place with certain units or that sort of thing. And I love the fact that they're saying, it's going to be made in America. Of course, if they're going to sell it to the DOD, they have to make it in America. So, truth in advertisement, that sort of thing. But I'm just saying that overall, some of this crap that's out there is just that. It's crap. And if in our lifetime, if in the few decades we have left to live, we start seeing America get its butt kicked overseas, its dependency on this sort of thing and some of the other changes that I used to tell my sons that I thought it was a good idea for them to join the military. Just do like 4 years, get the experience, get all this stuff on your resume, learn something about yourself, see the world, get some really good skills. I wouldn't advise a young person to join the military today, not even the Marine Corps. No way. So this just feeds kind of into that for me. And maybe I'm starting to understand why some of the politicians and some of the higher ups in the military in the 1930s and 40s didn't want to go to a semi-automatic rifle. Maybe I'm just that old guy that, what do we need?
You make a valid point. Is that going to just soften things up a little bit too?
But I like the innovation, and I do like this as an option for certain units.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, again, anything that's going to give us a tactical advantage, but when you start decreasing the amount of training that you put into your soldier, and they're out there with this 11-pound weapon that they can barely carry, and they've got less ammo, and they're not in the mindset to use that tool effectively, that's what I'm kind of rethinking. Not that I could do any better, but at least I'd be as focused as possible because I know what's coming our way. I'm just saying that I don't know. That's kind of
Right.
interesting to see where things
It's
go.
like I said here just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world between playing a video game and having that bullet hit you or crack as it goes by your skull. That will make you think real quick.
When you've got a religious zealot who has nothing to live for, kicking your butt with a Mosin Nagant and steel case ammo.
Yeah.
Real quick here, RDN, not to change the discussion, but RDN says, I just bought my first rifle, a Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport 2. Am I on a government list now? You've been on a government list since the day you were born if you're an American citizen. But in terms of the weapon, did you buy it private party from somebody else? Did you buy it in a store? Did they run your background check, your paperwork when you bought it? If they did, then I'm not saying you're on a list, but your information is going to be on file with an FFL for so many years. According to ATF law, I think that was it 30 days that they're supposed to keep your stuff electronically on file, then something gets expunged or deleted. I don't know. But I do know that all the original, like any 4473s can be traced back to the original buyer at one point or another. And I speak from experience. I don't want to talk about it, but I speak from experience. So it is possible that something you bought 10 years ago, I'm not going to say it could come back to haunt you, but there could be questions about it. So just keep that in mind.
If you're worried that you're on a government list, either A, you already are a prohibited person, in which case you broke the law, or B, you think you're all that, but really nobody cares.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. If something's going to happen, it's going to happen anyway. There isn't much we can do.
Yeah, if you're trying to get street cred by saying, man, the government's out to get me, they don't care about you. I'm not saying that this stuff is right. It isn't. But for the most part, if they were kicking indoors every single day, we'd literally see it up and down our street. So, all this, they're out to get me stuff. That's for another show, I guess.
I want to give M. Gabriel the mic drop comment of the day here. Seeing as we are all watching this, I take it China has not set off their balloon-based EMP yet. This is true. Yeah. Oh, God forbid that happens.
A balloon-based EMP would be a very local kind of thing. You've got to do it in a high altitude, and you've got to do it at the right altitude and the right angle in order to encompass the largest amount of area. So actually, you have to detonate it over Nebraska to get most of America.
You're not going to hurt us. What's that going to do? We sit on the biggest reserves of groundwater in the world. We've got plentiful supplies. We're fine. We got food. We're good.
Yeah, but it isn't just that. You boys know how to
form an alliance with Missouri. Missouri supplies us with firewood. We'll supply Missouri with beef, and then we'll just be like a little unified, protected territory.
You
it's
guys
easy
know
to
how
see
to
your
hunt.
opponent. What's that?
You guys know how to hunt. You know how to fish. You know
got
how to
guns.
farm. You just got telephones last week. You guys know how to reload. You guys know how to do all this stuff. So if the EMP hit, not a lot would change for you.
DJ Play Nice, just come to my house, brother. You guys just come here, and then after that, we'll go over to Defense Stat's house, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. So I got your back, bro. We're good. Don't worry about it. He's got a good point here. Taking out a small portion of the infrastructure that supports the internet would not be good for humanity. No, it would be great for humanity. It would take us back to 1994, which was a wonderful time to be alive.
Yeah, because the internet is all in one room in one place for the entire world. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, go ahead, Hillbilly. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, my youngest son-in-law, he just finished basic this last year, and basically all he had was, Colt M4, iron sights. One thing he did when I talked to him after he got out, one thing he was kind of complaining about, they didn't get a whole lot of shooting time at all. I mean, that's one thing he's really disappointed in. I mean, they had some range days or whatever, but that was it. I mean, other than just carrying the rifle, blanks or empty or whatever. But he said there really wasn't no training in the shooting. And so, when you go to something that's a little more advanced like this, I mean, is the basic training is going to have to be longer, stuff like that? Because, I mean, he said there just really wasn't any training, as far as marksmanship, any of that stuff. Yeah. And then one thing I was going to bring up a while ago about the optics, will something like an EMT, something like that, take out those optics?
Oh, that was the discussion earlier. If the EMP does what it's supposed to do and anything's got electrical components in it, it would take out the ability. Now those optics are etched glass reticle, so they will function as a analog magnified system if the digital portion fails. But you're going to lose all of your communications. You're going to have a total breakdown. So yeah, interesting stuff. All right, so guys, we're going to go and wrap it up. It's only been an hour and 25 minutes, but we just tossed a ton of information out there at you. So for a lot of people on the panel, this might be new info for them, a lot to think about. It was a good discussion. By the way, it's been almost 3 years to the day that we first discussed 277 Fury on Caliber Corner. I don't even know what that's 100 and some episodes ago, basically 150 episodes ago. We had our first discussion on 277 Fury as soon as it was announced, and now it's finally making its way, into commercial chains. You can buy it over on AmmoSeek. You can look up boxes of it for sale. It is readily available, maybe not your local gun store, but you can get it online if you want to get it at the cost of about $130 a round, which it's kind of pushing maybe 308 prices, I guess, more or less, decent 308 ammo. So anyway, that's it. That's our discussion for today. I want to thank everybody for watching. Reminders, be watching for more information about Thunder on the Prairie 2023. I will head over to Defense Dad's place at some point, and we will, or you can come over here, and we will show off the logo and talk about the logo for who the winning design is going to be for Thunder on the Prairie 2023. That's going to happen. We got sponsors lined up. We're very excited. It's going to be cool. Bill Beam is out there. He says, "Good morning, Travis." Good morning, Bill. How you doing, man? Good to see you. So let's let the panel give us their outros, and then we will begin our Saturday. So American Hillbilly, let's go and start off with you.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me on, Travis. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun today, and
yeah, man,
good group of people. Enjoyed it.
Hey, it's good having you here at your pleasant company, and there you go. Now you can start talking to your wife about getting that MCX. You can finance that MCX. It only costs $8,000. Who needs a used pickup truck when you can get a good rifle, right?
No kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still have about 3 inches of ice outside. It's not wanted to melt off the last several days. So hopefully as soon as that melts off, get some more videos going. I have some I've already filmed that it's going to be released. We will be doing our Saturday night Guns, Beer, and Therapy live tonight at 9 Central, and it's here on Hillbilly Up. So, if anybody'd like to jump on, we'd like to have you.
Sounds good. Head on over there. You guys check it out and do what you can and have a good time. I've been on there. I've been through the therapy session. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good to talk about. So there you go. Heck yeah, man. Make sure you guys do check it out. Good stuff. All right. Single shot. Anything you want to say before we go, dude?
Well, it was a good discussion. Thanks for the invite. And I'm glad that America's starting to realize things. But I still think the way that I expressed my feelings here a little bit ago, it should be a situation where the unit decides what they're going to use, what type of unit they are, and whether or not they should abandon the 223 or 556. Yeah. So everybody take care, stay safe, God bless. America moves by truck. Check out the channels if you have a chance. And again, I apologize for not posting much here lately.
Yeah, it's been freezing out here too. I haven't been to the range in probably about a month or so, and I'm just letting it warm up. Today we're supposed to get to 50, which is going to be nice. Upper 40s this week. We're also getting 1 more minute of daylight every day. So for me, I mean, after I get home from work, I have maybe an hour by the time I get out to the range to shoot and film, and I don't like to rush. I like to take my time. And so this weekend, I've got a couple of videos lined up in the cache that I'll be releasing this week and next week, and then we'll get back out to the range and start shooting again. I do have a couple uppers coming my way from Bear Creek Arsenal, not for Thunder on the Prairie, but 2 that they're sending me that I'm working with them. And as you guys know, I've done affiliate stuff with Bear Creek Arsenal before. Probably half the guns in my collection I bought from them myself. The other half have been testers that other channels have tested. We've given them away in drawings and giveaways and stuff. So I've got a couple new uppers coming with some of their new 2nd gen dual charging uppers, 1 in 7.62x39 and 1 in 5.56. So that's going to be coming our way too. So we will get out there as things thaw out a little bit and we get above a temperature that a human being doesn't die at in 30 minutes. So single shot, I feel your pain, brother. and make sure you guys get over there. Check out Single Shot over there on Rumble. You said Daywolf 1 or Daywolf on Rumble? Single Shot.
Nope, Daywolf.
Daywolf. Okay.
Just Daywolf. Yeah.
And real quick with me, if my channel, something would ever happen to my channel, if it disappears, then you guys can just assume it's the worst. My channel's been pulled off. I've kind of been going through my videos, and I don't have, I'm looking for stuff that could possibly violate YouTube's terms of service, but anything could. So if something would happen to my channel, I'm not clickbaiting. I'm not predicting doom and gloom. I'm not YouTube banned my channel. No, I'm just saying that if I disappear, you can find me over on Rumble. If you just type in Travis P11, you can still find my content all over the place. I'm over on Odyssey, which even if YouTube deleted my channel, my videos are all individually uploaded over at Odyssey. Rumble does the same thing. Now, UGEtube and Gunstreamer, they're just embedded links. So if the video disappears from YouTube, they disappear from Gunstreamer and UGEtube, which is Utah Gun Exchange. If you guys have never been over there, it's a good website. They're one of the alternate platforms that was kind of making a push when YouTube was going after gun channels like 5 years ago. So I am out there. You can find my content. I've also got stuff backed up on my computer. I've got stuff on my external hard drive. Worst case scenario, I also got a B channel called Coffee, Computers, and More. So if you guys check that out, if something would ever happen to my channel, I can put my non-gun content over there. So a lot of the videos I've done, I would just start reloading them over there, especially if they're no longer available on YouTube anyway. So hopefully we'll hit 50,000 subscribers pretty soon. I'm hoping I get there before I get deleted. It would be the ultimate irony of my life if my channel disappeared the day after I hit 50K subs, but oh well, poop happens. So you live and learn, you move on. Squidload, anything you would say before we go? Sorry about my little diatribe there.
Oh, no,
Okay.
I thought you said it well.
Thank you. Kingpin says that nothing will change as long as people pretend YouTube censorship isn't real. Yeah, I'm not gonna whine and complain, but yeah, anyway, I can go on about that. Squidload, any final last words of wisdom? If somebody's thinking about going out buying one of those MCX rifles, should they jump on the bandwagon and put it on the credit card, or buy two like New York Outcast said you should do?
I mean, I'm not going to, so I'm not the person to get you to go out and buy this newfangled crap. I've got stuff that I'm backlogged on that goes back quite a bit. Actually, I'm looking at maybe my next purchase being a flintlock pistol.
Ooh, nice.
I shot one of those for the first time, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
but
that's fun.
That's not the video I'm going to publish. Here we go into the studio, publish, boom, there. There's me out there blasting away with one of my black powder revolvers. It's nothing special. It's nothing, but for some reason or another, people like to see me shoot. I'm shooting at a beer can. It's off in the distance. You can't even see it, but hey, whatever. Yeah. So there's a video.
I want to get a Kentucky, one of the traditions Kentucky rifles, like the flintlock rifles that they offer. Well, they offer two variants of it, like a percussion cap model and a flintlock model. I think you can go either or. I want to get one just to hang up over my TV. I just think they're a beautiful rifle. I love those rifles. I think they're a clone of something else, right?
What ended up happening, whether it was a military rifle or a civilian rifle, is they converted some of the flintlock rifles to percussion caps as the technology became available. It was less expensive to do that than it was to buy a new gun. In the same sense that they took muskets and they put a breech on them for the trapdoor Springfield, or the Mason's Richards conversions where they took old cap and ball revolvers and converted them to use cartridges. It was less expensive, that sort of thing. So it's a little bit interesting to see the older technology, and then as the technology evolves, it's kind of like having an AR lower and you just drop a different upper on there or change the stock or something. It's the same sort of thing, but it's 19th century style. So for some people, those guns don't interest them, but I got to tell you, I recently got to shoot some original 19th century firearms, and it was an experience.
There you go, man. That's freaking awesome, dude. Yeah, I love that black powder. My black powder revolvers is so much fun to shoot.
Whether you get a flintlock or a percussion cap, it's really gonna. I mean, there's advantages, disadvantages to both, but it's a lot of fun. But I will tell you this: they're going to use a lot more powder than say your 1851 Navy. You're going to go through powder a lot faster. So I mean, because you can cram those things with a lot.
Yeah. Want to address X Adam 1's question. So here's the thing, me being a YouTuber, every video I've ever done with me having a shoulder brace or an AR pistol, that's out there in multiple places. Even if I deleted it from YouTube, it's still out there. So it kind of puts me in a precarious situation where you can just say, don't comply and stuff. Am I going to SPR anything with that whole ATF thing? So here's the deal, Adam. The majority of my AR pistols, I don't own anymore. I've sold them. They're gone. And I'm being honest with you. I do have one. The deal is I had an upper just sitting around, and then I saw this pistol stuff coming out. So I decided just to take that upper, throw it on my pistol lower, and just run it with a 16-inch barrel in a stock because I legally can. So that's one of them. And then that's the only actual AR pistol that I still have anymore. I've sold 2 other ones since a long time ago. I do have a PSA AKV, which, you know, again, and it came with an SBA3 from PSA. There's videos of me shooting it. I got a cleaning video on it that's got 500,000 views. I'm sure I'm on the ATF's watch list for that one. I've been thinking about SBRing that AKV just because I think it would look wicked with a stock on it and a vertical foregrip. I would love that. It's already an awesome gun anyway. But if this whole thing goes down and I am required to do some modification to it, unfortunately, I would be required to take off. Now you can say, well, don't comply, don't comply. Okay, I'm a very public, visible figure. So, I mean, I'm going to make sure that that gun fits the definition. So if I take it to the range or whatnot, you know, I'll get myself in trouble if I get arrested or something, get pulled over or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to take off the buffer tube and then just put a QD point on the back of it and just kind of run it like an MP3, just play around with that, have a single point sling on it, because I can do that. I would have to take off the buffer tube and obviously the brace, because that's what the new definition says it would have to be, right? And again, I don't want to argue with you guys. Well, you don't have to comply. You know, they're not laws, blah, blah, blah. If a worst case scenario comes down and that bill or that stupid measure is not overturned or stopped, I mean, I'm just going to take off the buffer tube. I'm not going to say what I'm going to do with my pistol braces because I haven't decided what to do with them at all. But I would take off the buffer tube and just put the QD mounting point on the back of it, because that would not be considered a surface area that you could use to fire the gun. The problem is on an AKV, if it has a buffer tube, it doesn't need it to function. So legally, you would not be able to leave it on there. And I don't know if it's the same thing for like a CZ Scorpion and stuff. So I would run it like that, X-Adam1, to give you a long-winded discussion on a short topic. But I don't want to get rid of it. I did want to sell it initially. At some point down the road, my original intention for the AKV is I wanted to SBR it and put a suppressor on it because it's a fun gun. And running that thing with subsonic ammo and a suppressor, 35 round mags with 15 round extensions on it, pushing 50 round magazines, I can't think of a more formidable home defense weapon. So I'm going to keep that buffer tube around. If I ever decide to SBR down the road, it would be the $200 tax stamp route. I'm not going to do this the way it's set up right now. I would be converting it over to an SBR, not showing it off as an SBR like people are doing right now. So that's what I want to do because I think it's a great platform for it. So hopefully I answered your question there. But yeah, and like I said, I can't really do anything to that AKV. I could maybe have it rebarreled possibly because PSA does a 16-inch version of it if I wanted to convert it to a pistol with a 16-inch barrel. I'm not going to call it a rifle because it's always going to be registered as a pistol. It's bought as a pistol. It's going to stay as a pistol. So anyway, I think that's it. Hey, Squib, help me out here. Is Rick going to have a show this afternoon? Rick's Life as I See It?
It's hard saying with Rick. If he does, it's at 3 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters.
2 o'clock Central for those of us that have groundwater. Okay.
Yeah. I am probably going to jump on. Depends on what's going on. I'm trying to stay home today and get a bunch of videos caught up on 5 different channels. And, you know, I found that it's easier to just try to do them assembly line style than it is onesie twosies. So that's my plan today. So if he has a show and I'm not on, I'm probably downstairs acting like I have Tourette's because I do so many takes on such low production value videos.
Yeah. No, man, it's okay. They're fun to watch. It doesn't matter regardless. Last thing I want to say, and I'm just thinking about this, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that are also talking about this congressional push to overthrow the SBR pistol brace requirement stuff. And there is an act that Congress can do to make that happen. But what they're not telling you in a lot of these videos is that it requires a presidential signature to overturn that bill. At least at a minimum, our representatives are getting some awareness out there and in public media, the awareness of what threat this requirement for the pistol braces is putting on the average gun owner, a lot of whom don't even have any idea that this is going on. I had to call my dad and explain it to him, what's going on, what could possibly happen, because he has an AR pistol. And, he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I said, well, we've got some options. He's like, why the hell do we have to do this? I said, well, because your gun that you bought as a pistol with your Nebraska pistol purchase permit, with your background check for pistol registered as a pistol, is now considered a short barrel rifle. What? Stupid. Well, I know, Dad, but that's the ATF's, modus operandus or whatever it is. So
until they change their mind again.
See, yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, maybe we can get this thing. Well, I want to see it get overthrown, obviously, or they drop it or whatnot. I'm hoping that it creates enough of a firestorm. I really do see it's going to be just massive non-compliance like the bump stocks. I think that's what's going to happen. But there's a lot of just craziness out there. So, anywho, enough of that. It's a discussion for another day. Otherwise, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching season 5, episode number 268, where we talked about the next generation squad weapons for the U.S. Army. XM5/XM7, XM250, XM157 optic. Thanks for watching Caliber Corner. Thanks for checking us out. We'll be next Saturday at 8 a.m. Central Time. Don't know about the topic, but we will drop something this week. Check out my channel, Travis P11. Help me get to 50,000 subscribers if possible before I get eliminated. And yeah, I want you guys to have fun. I want you to be safe. Shout out real quick on the YouTube side. We got New York Outcast out there, Squibload, Luke B, Kingpin, Defense Dad, Faride's out there, Bjorn, X Adam 1, M Gabriel in the house, Mountain View. A lot of people joining in today. Hillbilly Up's out there pulling double duty. The whole Squib Empire's over there today too. DJ Play Nice, Tommy Guns out there watching today. I think we had Fluffy 10mm Jeep Guy, DJ Play Nice, Ozzy Orsborn, Tacos and French Fries, RDN, Razor JB. Razor JB, I do appreciate your contribution to today's discussion. You brought up a lot of good thinking points, and the fact that you had some part in this, this whole process or what you've done in the past. I think it's good that people kind of hear those important points. Tommy Guns out there today too. M Gabriel in the house. The Shootist is watching. Luke B. And I think that's about it. Appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate all the years of support. We're going to be blazing into season 6 as long as we're still around, which will happen in June. So here we go. Once again, we're already coming up on our true season 6. 6 years since we started this show. Scott 79 out there. Luke B. I think that's it. Hebrew Hammer's out there also. All right. Well, you guys take care. Kevin June, thanks for watching. And Kingpin. Have fun. Be safe, everybody. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.